Good news, everyone! Talking Futurama is coming back for Talking Futurama Season 2, Part 2.
Fresher than a summer ham, this podcast comes every Friday. And if you sign up at the $5 level at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons, you can hear each episode as it goes live.
That's right. Sign up today at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons for $5 to hear Talking Futurama every Friday throughout the rest of 2020 and also all the previous episodes we've done so far.
So head over to patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons now, or we're going to clamp you.
Shut up and take my money.
I heartily endorse this event or product.
Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to Talking Simpsons, the podcast that ruined Buddy Epson's credit rating. I'm one of your hosts, the wise but alcoholic dance coach Bob Mackey, and this is our chronological exploration of The Simpsons. Who else is here with me today?
Hey, it's Henry Gilbert, and it says in my notes, I ate pee-pee?
And who do we have on the line?
I'm ever so Gary Butterfield.
It's true, and today's episode is Last Tap Dance in Springfield.
Tappa, tappa, tappa.
Today's episode aired on May 7th, 2000, and as always, Henry will tell us what happened on this mythical day in real world history.
Oh boy, Bobby, the new metal-infused Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack is released into record stores ahead of the film. Termite Terrace veteran Art Davis sadly passes away, and Vladimir Putin is officially inaugurated for the first time as the president of Russia.
Don't you mean President Trump's boyfriend? Honk honk.
He was already putting on his chapstick for making out with President
kiss.
Trump. They kiss, they're boyfriends, it's gay, and that's funny.
Fourth bit of news, the boy known as Bob Mackey becomes the man, also known as Bob Mackey, and I turn 18 on this day.
Wow, congratulations,
yes,
Bob.
it was quite a journey.
Did you do anything to celebrate on your 18th birthday?
No, I believe I was working a shift at Taco Bell that day, so not a fun time for me.
What a fiesta.
Not a happy birthday for Bob Mackey.
I didn't get my banana kaboom. And that was the Fred Durst song on MI2.
Yes, yeah, that is the they had their own.
So you just summed every Limp Bizkit song.
They had a song already that was like on one of their albums originally, but then the Mission Impossible soundtrack was like, oh, we want these guys for their to be hip, you know, their hip 2000 film Mission Impossible 2. So they needed to have the stars of new metal singing over that song. So yeah, I watched the music video for it. It's very annoying. It's just like, what if Fred Durst was a secret agent, guys? That's
the chunky agent.
That's the thing. Like Fred Durst, unlike say Wes Borland, his bandmate, he never wanted to look dumb in a music video. He's always like, this music video is about how cool I am and how all the girls dress like me and then dance like me and follow me everywhere. It's like, be ready to make a joke about yourself because you are a joke. Like you're a red hat wearing buffoon. Be funny about it. But
I was gonna say that red hat would give him away as a spy.
Exactly. Yeah. His instead of wearing the full face mask like they have in Mission Impossible 2, it should just be a yellow hat on top of his red hat.
This was also before he guest starred in the Fight Club video game, which happened well after his sell-by date, which is really strange.
Yeah.
I also, in my head, I was just like, is Beautiful Joe a little Fred Durst? Like Queeby?
He had
Fred Durst?
He had the same Joe Mentum as Fred Durst.
It's really incredible. Like little red-hatted, little thick guy.
Yeah, there has to be a connection there.
I think at the very least it was, you know, the folks at Clover, they said, what is a cool American dude? What does that look like? And so they see Fred Durst, the coolest of American men in the year 2000, and they go with that.
And Art Davis was one of the longest living Termite Terrace guys. By this point in time, they were all croaking. I think Chuck Jones was next on the chopping block.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Yeah, that Art Davis, I think we should have on our friend Thad to really say this, but I think he's one of the more like underrated guys because he like didn't get to direct a lot. He was more like an assistant to like Clampett and Jones on stuff. I think
he took over Bob Clampett's unit when he left, so he did direct quite a few things. But if I told you the name of them, you wouldn't know because they all have like pun names that don't describe what the cartoon is actually about.
Something with the word hair in it, I'd expect.
Or bunny. Yeah.
And yeah, Vladimir Putin still at it. What a cool guy.
Riding that horse around.
Shirtless. I haven't seen as many shirtless Vladimir jokes as honestly I'm happy that 4 years later it feels like there are less Vladimir Putin jokes on SNL and whatnot than there were, or on Simpsons for that matter, than there were 4 years
They've
ago.
all moved to MSNBC.
Yeah. Though I guess when you listeners hear this post-election in December, maybe there's been a new spike in them. I certainly hope not.
But joining us today on the show, his first appearance on Talking Simpsons, Gary Butterfield of the duckfeed.tv podcast network. You probably heard things like Watch Out for Fireballs or Bonfire Side Chat, but welcome, Gary, to the show.
Thank you. Little trivia, little comic book guy trivia. I think I actually guessed it on a Talk to the Audience once.
Oh, I think maybe it was a What a Cartoon.
Well, we did
Or
a
What a Cartoon
yeah.
listener feedback.
Yes,
Oh.
yeah. The listener feedback for Retronauts was the same day.
Oh, gotcha.
We did those. No, wait. It was a listener feedback for your show. It was like a dating advice thing.
That's
as I
right.
recall.
Well, it was, but after that, in the same session, because we recorded about Spider-Man.
Right.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
a Cartoon. And I thought it was a Talk to the Audience, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I don't think so, but this is your first time on Talking Simpsons, for sure.
Real,
And-
mainline show.
And normally, we sometimes try to pick guests based on their expertise, but often we'll just be like, well, that person is funny. We'll just have them on because they're great. You're great, Gary, but I chose you for this one also because you use the phrase tappa, tappa, tappa on your podcast a lot. So I have to believe you have some affinity for this episode because that is your shorthand for like doing like combos in a video game or like doing a QTE. I hear that a lot on all of your podcasts. So when this episode came up and I was like, Gary Butterfield, he's our guy. He's the tappa, tappa, tappa guy.
He did.
Well, and my 9 years of tap training.
It's true.
So that would be the thing. Before I got into podcasting, I was the Baryshnikov of podcasting. I think about this is a weird thing because I've been revisiting The Simpsons with Disney Plus, which I imagine a lot of people have. And I'm finding that a lot of Simpsons that I have references to or phrases that are stuck in my head are comparatively late. I think about like tappa, tappa, tappa a lot. I think about the end of it. Like this is, from the end of the episode, but where he's like, you could write a depressing play about people coming to terms with things.
Yeah.
I think about a play about people coming to terms with things a lot.
And
So I do have some affection for this.
We're in early October now, and recently in the news, I'm seeing a lot of references to Three Stooges syndrome, referencing our president getting COVID, and we're not adding anything to this podcast if anything happens. By the way,
Yes. No.
it's October 9th right now, 7th. So
yeah.
yes, but I've seen that a lot. I'm like, people remember season 11. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think season 11, it's turned out is more memorable and more heavily memed as well. Like I think the memeing of it has stuck it around more. This episode has more things in it I feel like that deserve to be memes than there are. I think I can only think of a couple I've seen that are like heavily gift, but Tappa 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 I think deserves more recognition as well. And this is just a funny ass episode. Like I think the only negatives I would say preemptively about it is that there's a few jokes that I'm like, I kind of seen a joke like this before in Simpsons, but they're all funny, and the villain of the episode is really great. Like it's a great one-off character.
And it feels like a bit of forgiveness or just mercy after the dark cloud of Alone Again, Natural Deadly, Saddle Sword Galactica, and Kill the Alligator and Run. Like the last three are just like, oh, smooth sailing, regular episodes.
Yeah.
Nothing insane or dark or just cruel for the viewer.
Maybe it was that after Kill the Alligator and Run, they're like, we got that out of our system. Let's finish this up strong. We took it too easy that week.
The weirdest thing about this is the magic shoes. I feel like, but once you accept the magic shoes, like I think this is pretty fun. Good jokes. I like the B plot of this a lot. I had basically forgotten about it because it's not as I don't associate it. Like they're very disconnected.
Oh yeah,
More so than a lot of times. But I really do like the B plot of this. I think that it has a bunch of good stuff in it.
Yeah, I think of this B plot, but I never knew where it belonged until I rewatched this one. I'm like, when does Bart go to the mall? And I was like, does Bart go camping in this episode? There's something about a big camping trip.
I mean, did you see this one live? Were you a regular viewer back in 2000?
Yeah, I watched this shortly after this. I was no longer a regular viewer because I didn't have a TV. I moved out from my parents' house. But at this point, I still have that. And I saw this. This was probably the last season I watched live.
Well, la-di-da, Mr. No TV.
Yeah, I didn't even own 2 TVs. It's even better. And then eventually I came back and revisited, all of them through the magic of DVD. But at the time, the little tiny one room roommates. No TV.
And this episode originates from the Scully family. A lot of their episodes are drawn from life because the writer of this episode, Julie Thacker, is the wife of Mike Scully and still is. They created Duncanville recently. And this all stems from a summer in which they have 5 girls. They need to do something with these girls to keep them, busy. So they enroll them in dance class. And this whole episode is written based on that experience and also the experience with the parents and especially the teacher who was someone who formerly had Hollywood aspirations, but became increasingly bitter and took all of that out on the children.
Oh my God. I mean, you think of like local dance teachers in the rest of America, like they might be kind of intense or like, oh, you didn't fulfill your dreams. But if they're still in Hollywood, like I bet that dance teacher is like 10 times as bitter about failing.
Because it could almost still happen.
Yeah,
like a parent could come in and enroll their kid and be like, you have a look, and they could just lose their mind.
I'm sure you get that also with like a screenwriting class. Like the guy is your teacher. He like wrote One Designing Women in like 1992, and he's still just waiting for that Hollywood rope ladder to come down for him and rescue him.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think this episode's ripping it off at all. But on Look Well, that's the great thing with Look Well. That he's an acting teacher, and that his students are like, can we do Shakespeare instead? He's like, no, watch this episode of my show. It's you'll learn so much more there. Yeah, I mean, Julie Thacker, while listening to her on the commentary, it's very funny because she is so in mama mode in it, which I really like, that she's like, well, maybe my kids aren't good dancers, but I'd never say that. Never, ever, ever.
And it's, Mike Scully is like, remember, you're signing yourself for all of this boring crap when you enroll your kids in things, which made me realize my parents are so smart. They never encouraged me to do it like extracurricular things, because I realized like that's cutting into their free time. They don't want to watch a boring baseball game full of children.
Soccer games with children having to run back and forth. Awful.
You've ever seen a child play? that you're getting into trouble there. They can't act. They can't sing. They can't dance. They look like garbage. Like just children play.
What good are they?
Down for me. What good is children's theater?
And if you're a slightly empathetic person, you also know you can't tell them they're bad at it, because you're just like, they're just a kid. They don't know. Like, you got to be encouraging.
I think after trying 3 sports, my family and I had an understanding. Just like, well, we're not doing this anymore.
I didn't have many after-school programs either. Obviously, I didn't take any tap classes, but I like that Julie, I think she brings a lot to this one with like mother-daughter stuff too. I think it's a kind of energy they didn't otherwise have in the writer's room in season 11. This is good.
The one woman in the room, I guess.
Yeah.
And also there's so part of this is inspired by real life too, in that Lisa being inspired to be a dancer from this movie parody, believed all the girls wanted to take dance classes because they all had just seen like Strictly Ballroom on videotape or something, the 92 Baz Luhrmann movie. So they're like immediately after watching that, they're just like dancing around the living room and stuff, and they all wanted to try dancing.
Now that Julie Thacker, all of her daughters are adults, I wonder if she'd be honest if you asked her, like, so come on, were they bad dancers? And she would know she isn't hurting her kids' feelings now. I mean, honestly, listening to this one with the commentary, it made me really now want to. We got to interview Julie Thacker. Like we've interviewed Mike Scully twice, but I feel like Julie has a lot of things that folks haven't heard, because folks aren't asking her as many questions about Simpsons.
Let's just call Mike Scully and ask for Julie.
Yeah, it's like, hey there, Mike. So can I get Julie on the phone here, please?
Stop interviewing my wife. I'm glad you brought up the thing about kids, like girls seeing Strictly Ballroom and then wanting to dance, because I have a huge affection for episodes of The Simpsons that let Lisa be a little girl. It doesn't happen that often. Like Bart gets to do all kinds of little boy things, and then Lisa always has to be the adult in the room. And like things with like the Corey hotline or things like this, where Lisa is definitively like a little girl as I understood little girls as a little boy, is just really great to me. Doesn't feel like she gets a lot of chances for that.
Yeah, that she gets to be, that she wants to do something. Also, I like any jokes where Lisa wants to do something And when she isn't instantly good at it, like she is with schoolwork, she gets sad and she can't deal with that.
That's relatable.
Like, very relatable to all these gifted kids you're hearing on this podcast.
I'm starting a GoFundMe.
It's really hard to be a gifted kid, guys. I know we already talked about this on Malcolm in the Middle, but it needs to be said again.
Hey guys, at what point in the show do I come out as an introvert?
Oh,
do we declare that, and then you guys will know how hard it is for me.
We're going to spend at least 25 minutes talking about imposter syndrome and our struggles with it.
And yeah, this is I think also just a really great one because they really found something with little Vicky. Like she's so great. I wish she returned for later episodes.
And we'll talk more about Shirley Temple later, but they wanted to get her and couldn't because of scheduling reasons. And also, this is good for me because I just for the first time watched Singing in the Rain. It's a movie that's just like 90% tap dancing.
Yes.
And while watching this, I was like, they chose the most difficult kind of dancing to animate to go with this episode.
You're right.
Just the dancing, the moves, just like how fast it is and how you have to get it so right to make it look like tap dancing. It must have been a huge challenge, and it sounds like it was for Nancy Kruse, the director.
Oh yeah, Nancy Kruse is one of their best directors of season 11. Like she's maybe the best her unit is, but there's only so much you can do on a TV budget and time frame, and I feel bad for them. This is already after they had to do a bunch of horse racing and dance stuff in like 4 episodes ago in Battlestar Galactica, and now they have to do first they have to do the Tango de la Muerte, and then they got to do a bunch of tap dancing. It's crazy. I feel for them. Always compliment the animators, even if it's an episode you don't like as much. So this is, I think, a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, as this episode begins, like many late in season episodes, especially very season 3 and 4 kind of feel, it basically starts with Homer watching a sketch on television.
It reminds me of a Gene and Reese episode, like season 3 or 4, that always starts with like a parody of something.
Yeah, there's definitely when a character starts by watching TV, it feels like an Al Jean kind of touch. And
he's on the show, though.
Yeah.
He's on the show at this point, back.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it is Gene is getting more and more power in the writer's room redirecting things, because 2 acts in this, 2 of the 3 acts start with watching television, and also a lengthy film parody as well. Like
2 of them.
Yeah, actually 2 of them. But yes, the episode begins with Cyborganizer.
The Cyborganizer. A high-tech RoboCop created for one purpose only. To help the NYPD tackle its tedious paperwork. Good work, Cyborganizer.
I can streamline any procedure, except this thing you call love.
Oh, poor Cyborganizer.
Homer, sitting that close to the TV can't be good for you.
Talking while the TV's on can't be good for you.
You should get your eyes checked. I'm taking Bart to the mall to buy camping supplies. Why don't you come along?
I want to enjoy the show before the network retools it.
How can I organize this modeling agency and still be a good single father?
I love you, Daddy.
Too late.
So it became like Just Shoot Me and something else.
Yeah, you're right. It is Just Shoot
Model
Me.
Inc. and Just Shoot Me.
Though I gotta say, Homer he knows the dangers of retooling because that already happened with police cops in his life.
Except at this point, it seems to have happened during the commercial break.
Yes, yeah. So Homer looked away.
Not even really a commercial break, just a pause. Like he just looked away.
Between scenes.
It's a cut. It cuts over to a model cut. I love how Cyborganizer is a high-tech RoboCop. They don't even like hide the RoboCop thing. Like a freestanding RoboCop is a thing.
The design is RoboCop, and then they just say RoboCop in his description, just to get extra direct with it. This definitely feels like writers on the staff, the aging writers of the staff, were maybe getting worsening eyesight, and we're funneling that into Homer here. And Homer straight up threatens Marge, by the way.
That's true, yeah.
I thought, in my memory, he raised his fist at her even, but he holds back from that at least. And I guess I also got jokes about retooling sitcoms. I was trying to remember what was the one that it happened to the most I watched as a kid. Definitely was Ellen's many different titles of her show with many different friends that come in and out of Ellen's life.
There's a few like Hanging with Mr. Cooper changed and Ellen changed.
It's more for the The other ones I can think of were like late seasons ones, like Coach. Coach, for the final year of Coach, he's not a college guy anymore. He's working on a major league team now. But yeah, Homer giving up on the Cyborganizer the second he sees he got retooled.
Oh, Perfect Strangers. They get married and live in that big house. And then it's like Wacky Town and there are ghosts and whatnot and potions and hot air balloons.
Man, I forgot the potions and
It got Family Matters wacky in its final season.
They saw a way the wind was blowing on TJF if they wanted to fit in. Balky's catchphrases were getting old. They needed some magic.
Can they be pirates? Is there a way to make them pirates?
The Simpsons will be right back.
Tappa to you, great listener. Thanks again for following us. And a big thank you to our guest, Gary Butterfield from Watch Out for Fireballs and all the other great podcasts, duckfeed.tv. Really cool to have him on this week to talk about such a classic episode. And if you enjoy hearing us talk about this and other Simpsons episodes, you should really consider supporting us at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons. Why, there for $5 a month, you'll have ever so much fun hearing every Talking Simpsons podcast 1 week ahead of time and ad-free, and you'll also get that same courtesy for the What a Cartoon podcast, our sister podcast we do every week alongside Talking Simpsons. Plus, that $5 a month gets you access to our many Patreon exclusive podcasts, like our weekly for the rest of 2020 Talking Futurama podcast, where we're covering the back half of season 2 of Futurama one Friday at a time, only for $5 and up patrons. And if you signed up, you'd get to hear that and all of our previous Talking Futurama podcasts, plus our exclusive podcast covering The Critic, King of the Hill, and Mission Hill to boot. So please, consider signing up today at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons for $5 a month. But if you want to have ever so much more fun, $10 a month gets you the premium subscription at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons. All of that stuff I just talked about. And then you get our most exclusive podcast, the What a Cartoon Movie podcast. Me and Bob covering an animated feature film the same way we cover Simpsons and other cartoon shows, often for over 4 hours. This month, if you signed up, you get to hear our one for Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Coming at the end of this month, you're going to get to hear the End of Evangelion podcast, and so many. A giant back catalog of them is wide-ranging as Tiny Toon Adventures, Summer Vacation, Akira, Kiki's Delivery Service, A Goofy Movie, Space Jam, and so many more. You want to hear them all. Over 100 hours of exclusive extra podcasts in addition to all the $5 things. If you're a $10 and up subscriber at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons, so sign up today. So they head off to the mall. We get some fun mall kiosk jokes. Ay Caramba, that's a cute name.
I will say, though, I feel like the animators and the team were not given like a list of store names, and it was very late in the season, because outside of the stores they visit, the stores in the background just have names like Hobbies and Yogurt Huts.
Yeah.
And like Fashion, just like placeholder things. I just feel like they weren't given a list of names to populate the backgrounds with in this episode.
Occasionally you'll see things that were old jokes, like the Tam O'Shanter Hut, or the Leftorium appears. I wish there had just been a direct Leftorium joke in the episode. But
they should steal from the Leftorium or break into it.
Or have a joke of Ned opening it and they see him in the morning, or they got to hide from him.
There's so little Leftorium on The Simpsons. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a weird thing. Like, I remember in the episode that's Genesis, and then in the Hurricane episode, but it just doesn't show up very often. Like, you guys would know better than I do, but the idea that Ned Flanders like runs a small business is so unimportant to his character.
I think that
really
when Al Jean takes over the show again in season 13, he does bring back a lot of older elements in Leftorium, like makes one appearance a season, or every few seasons there's like a scene there.
Yeah, I think I can't recall if there's a Leftorium gag next season in the Praiseland episode, but the last time I can remember like jokes in the Leftorium was in Listen Lady when Ned is telling the kids to leave because they're slacking off.
And he ends up at Donnie's Discount Desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about that with Ned is that like we got this election coming up, so I've been listening to the political parties. And as a small business owner, like Ned Flanders is a very coveted demographic.
That's true, yeah.
And he's got a middle-class family, too. So, yeah.
American hero.
By the way, all this small business owner talk, they never talk about podcasters. And that, again, much like being a gifted kid, like I'm being overlooked here as a small business owner of a podcast.
It's a real job.
Yeah, Dad. Okay. But I could also really identify with Bart. I was taken to like these lens crafter type places as a kid, and they are very boring. And you want to just start having a fit to leave, even though you don't have your new glasses yet.
That was before you could just get an iPad and, be a 4-year-old watching Joe Rogan clips.
Yeah, I know. How? Man, I just rewatched The Hateful Eight for the first time in a long time, and there's moments in it where I'm just like, oh yeah, what did you even do before you couldn't like look at a screen while you're bored? You just have to sit in a cart.
Think about your favorite Bible verses.
Recite them to yourselves because you've been wicked. But they cut to Homer showing that he's got such poor eyesight he grabbed a baby that's not Maggie.
That was baby Gerald.
Yeah.
Baby Gerald.
And it's handed off to a one-eyebrowed mother as well. Though I double-checked this, in Canine Mutiny, the woman holding baby Gerald does not have a single eyebrow.
Perhaps that was their au pair.
Yeah.
Or she's growing. She's changing. Like, I don't know if you guys' eyebrows have come in yet, but if you guys, I'm sure it'll happen for you if you just wait.
I've had to trim them back.
Real hard.
I wish there was like one extra twist to it, because when it says, oh, his eyesight's getting really bad, and it cuts to Homer throwing a baby, your first thought is like, yeah, it's not the right baby. And I wish there was one extra thing to it instead of just exactly what you think.
It's like under a Magoo joke. It doesn't even go up to Magoo levels of blind jokes.
So then Homer is getting left at the eyeglasses place. There's the lead-a joke about how it's eyeglasses in an hour and how that's impossible.
Did you go to the hour? I mean, you guys are both glasses wearers.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you what was your lens crafting like? Was it the hour-long lens crafting, or?
I think when I was a kid, I did get it a couple times, but I think eventually we just settled for my regular optometrist, and we just go every year or two and get the ones that have to be sent away for. I should also say, by 15, I was getting worse than regular vision. So the hour-long places, I think they would even tell you like, no, he needs stronger than we can do in an hour.
We need special glass for this.
Yeah.
Send away for those antique Coke bottles.
Yeah, same thing. I ended up going to a place in my hometown called Specs Express, which I don't think is a chain. I think it's local, but I could be wrong. And in no way was it Express. It was glasses molasses. Like it was very slow, and I just had to wait. I know I haven't been. I'd be pathetic if I had been sitting on that glasses molasses joke for like a long time. I swear to you, I just came up with it.
That's good.
You and the listeners.
There's actually,
if I was planning that. Sad.
There's actually a store in Berkeley. I don't know if it's still open, but it has a Simpsons caliber pun name. It's called Sight for Sore Eyes, SITE. And I got my vision check there when I was like running out the clock on my insurance for my last job. Like, all right, check everything out.
Mm-hmm. And you found out your eyesight's great, you bastard.
They're like, it's perfect. In fact, you wasted my time. Get out.
As Bart's taken away this again, it's the Henry Guilt about things corner, but every time I see like the kids being a jerk to the mom who's just trying to shop with them, I think about how I was probably many times a bad kid who was impatient when all my mom wanted to do was buy me clothes. Like, how dare she? But I was not a patient shopper as a kid. The way Bart gets out of it, though, is through method acting tantrums.
Come on, Bart. While your dad gets his glasses, we'll go shop for your trip.
Oh, I hate shopping. Just give me a deck of cards and I'll win whatever I need from the other kids.
But you need to try things on. Every brand has a different idea of husky.
I'm in tantrum position. T-5, 4, 3, remembering dead cat for real tears, and...
Fine, you win. I'll do your shopping for you.
Tantrum averted. But now I can't forget the cat.
Snowball 1.
Yeah.
So many callbacks in this episode.
You're right. Not just any old dead cat. They didn't make one up. I bet he was probably pretty brokenhearted about Snowball 1. Actually, I guess if you take it that they're always 8 and 10, it happened within a year, Snowball 1's death. So
do you guys remember getting clothes where you wouldn't have a number assigned to your size? You just have a kind of mean adjective, like husky.
Oh, sure. Yes. Yeah.
Like I remember getting husky clothing. It's like, boy, okay, thanks, clothes.
No,
I was a beanpole, so I just things were just held up to me and then purchased.
They didn't have like a mean like stick boy, or anything like that for you.
No, I definitely had to. I'll just say that King of the Hill episode, Husky Bobby, really spoke to me.
They don't use that word anymore, do they?
I don't know. I wonder if there's a nicer word for it now, like extra large pants or whatever.
Zoftig.
Zoftig. Rubenesque.
That'd be sweet. I'd like that over Husky.
It does point out, like, Bart has he has the same like light bulb body as every man on The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's one of those jokes where every 5 years or so they remember like, oh, Bart is kind of fat like that, or well, a little overweight. Like they actually, I guess this is a little bit similar to when he took karate in Flanders Failed. Lisa doing this class, but I remember in that episode they don't draw Bart any differently. They just like zoom in on his gut and have his stomach like pop out a little bit.
It's a good reminder. Apparently, the husky size still exists, and Kohl's the Kohl's company defines husky as a roomier fit throughout the waist for growing boys who need a little extra room around the middle. There should be a little winking emoticon after
that's
that.
That's great. I love that. Like, I'm just a growing boy.
Who wouldn't want more room? Would you want less room?
I just realized this when you talked about doing the close up on Bart's gut during the karate thing, is that sometimes like Bart has the same proportions as Mega Man. Like every once in a while, Mega Man, you can see his gut, like when he does the Top Man spin or something like that, or certain jumps.
That's where he holds all those things he shoots.
It's his ammo gut, his ammo sack.
He's been eating too many E-tanks. That's what I say. But yeah, so Bart then stays behind just to taunt his dad with, I don't want to blame every joke I don't fully like on Al Jean, but that I ate pee-pee joke really does feel like an early season 1 or 2 Bart style rambunctiousness joke of like in the early seasons, Bart does things that like, oh, that's what a kid would do, like no extra joke to it or anything, and that includes writing I ate pee-pee. It's really just to set up the classic better or worse like that. My eye doctor says better 1 or better 2, better 2 or better 3, better 2 or better 3, like better 2 or better 4. Like that's the I'm still on the same old machine. They haven't changed 20 years later. At the very least, my local optometrist still uses that same
big heavy thing they just lower down.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if like it was the end of the world and I couldn't find my glasses, the idea of mounting one of those to my head, like the better thing, and just kind of going around like a power armor.
Well, and you'd be good
because it would function as glasses,
and you'd be good forever because as your eyes got worse, you just flip it to the next number.
Yeah, just have to adjust.
No, I mean, as a glasses wearer, that is a fear of mine, and like apocalyptic visioning. I'm like, well, that glasses, I'm really in a lot of trouble.
It's that Twilight Zone episode. They let you know ahead of time, like have a backup pair on you.
Yeah. Again, or like, or you will also be suicidally sad, like the man in that.
Just Meredith.
So Homer tries on a bunch of glasses, which even he's kind of bored by. And they have a joke about glasses Val Kilmer wears, which I'm actually, just for saying his name, I'm just going to play that anti-death jingle just to be safe.
Buzzards, I ain't dead yet.
Has some sort of illness befallen Val?
Oh, he's been suffering from throat cancer for a couple of years now.
Okay.
I found that out because he has a cameo in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and that it is.
Hey, Silent Bob, it's Batman.
Well, he doesn't talk at all in it, so and I was like, boy, he looks weird. What's going on? Yeah, Val doesn't say anything, and he plays Silent Bob in the movie, and basically he like stood in front of a green screen for like 5 seconds, and they're like, yeah, Val Kilmer, how you like that?
That feels like most appearances in that movie were just like someone was sent a green screen and an iPhone.
And they were told, like, hey, Kevin Smith almost died, all right? Get in front of this green screen and say these lines. And same for Yoko Ono. That was for Yoko Ono as well.
She ruined Plastic Ono bands.
I love Homer brings up that she ruined a band that she started. Instead of saying that it was the Beatles she ruined the band that she began with. I guess really it was more of an art project, not just a band with John Lennon, the Plastic Ono band. And then we get our second joke in this season about the dangers of laser eye surgery.
Maybe you're a candidate for laser eye surgery.
Will you get me out of having to choose classes?
Well, yes, but I must warn you it's an experimental procedure and we still don't know the long-term effect.
Less yapping, more zapping.
Well, looks like we got everything for Bart's camping trip. Blair Witch Repellent, Antler Song, and Deep Woods Scrabble. Ooh, Tango de la Muerte. I've been dying to see that movie.
It got rave reviews from both the Entertainment Radio Network and the Radio Entertainment Network. Let's go.
Wait, you gotta use these drops. They prevent your eyes from crusting over.
Oh, here we go with the add-ons. No thanks.
Oh, truly vile joke. People were
the grossest things that happens in this show.
We have to remind ourselves there is a Ren and Stimpy writer on the staff. That feels like a Ren and Stimpy joke. Eyes crusting over.
Eyes crusting over with mucus is a very Ren and Stimpy thing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And there's a grosser joke, like, in I think in the next season where Ralph touches like Homer's wound and it like scabs over his hand.
Yes, and he says, "It knows you're afraid." Yeah, that's from that. I got the eye crusting over. I kept waiting for him to say that kind of line in here, but I mixed it up with, yes, it's Children of a Lesser Clod from season 12. That's the one where Homer becomes a good father to everybody but his children thanks to a knee injury. And yeah, I feel like this comes right after the joke about how in the future Ned's eyes fell out because he got laser eye surgery. They don't tell you after 10 years your eyeballs fall out.
Well, I looked it up, and Weird Al got LASIK in 98.
Wow.
In January 98, so his eyes are still intact.
Yeah, and he's good 22 years on now. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hear, look, I'm not going to repeat all the laser eye information I shared in that podcast, but it's not dangerous. I'll just say that, or relatively not dangerous. Like, I think it's like less than 5% people suffer eye pain afterwards.
It doesn't cause like barbecue smoke to waft out of the operating room.
I've never had it because of jokes like these. They terrify me. I'm just like, I mean, the risks seem they're the same on home movies. There's an episode all about being blinded by laser eye surgery.
What a weird, what a weird agenda TV had at the time. It feels like the fact that it actually influenced you and probably influenced more people to not get it.
The Laser Eye Council should have been spending more money lobbying for the Hollywood writers to get laser eye surgery.
There's probably like a picture of Weird Al in every LASIK surgery center, just like thumbs up, smiling.
Yeah, these aren't glass. Don't follow Ion on. Like these are real.
Ion. And the first of two next week's episode also has a Blair Witch joke to really ground this in the early 2000s.
This is like the summer after, right?
Yes, yeah. That was what a summer of Blair Witch that was. I don't know about you guys. I saw it in theaters excitedly. I only found out after seeing it that it was fake. So I even fully bought into it too.
I didn't see it because I thought it was fake, and I didn't want to buy into. I was too much of like a jerk to be like, well, I can't even buy into this if it's fake. So I still haven't seen it.
I got to have the experience of not, kind of missing the cultural hype cycle of it at first, and having a friend bring over a bootleg on a VHS tape, which was the ultimate immersive experience.
Hell yeah,
like of this being real. It was pretty cool. And then later I looked into it. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is actually a thing, and I just don't watch enough trailers. So.
This Tango de la Muerte thing, there are like 2 full film parodies in this episode, which I find interesting. But we're talking about Algie, and we're just slagging on him. We're going to scare him away from our show. But one of his trademarks, and he's not even in charge of this season, but one of his trademarks is like a too late parody of something, which is why there's an episode next season called Children of a Lesser Clyde.
Yes, yeah.
This one feels like it's referencing the like Lambada movie craze of 1990, with both the Forbidden Dance and Lambada being competing movies about lambada in 1990.
The one they reference on the commentary of Strictly Ballroom, like that was 8 years old when this came out. So that was like early Baz Luhrmann. Like Moulin Rouge, I think, was just about to come out when this episode aired. But I mean, there's always going to be dancing movies for young people to watch. Like it's one of those genres that they have a formula, and then every 5 years they just make a new one of those in that exact formula because there's a new generation of little boys and girls to watch that kind of stuff.
And there were so many jokes about like lambada in Mad Magazine and on comedies as I was becoming aware of like, oh, here's the kind of comedies I like, and I'm understanding the world now. To me, for like at least 18 months, I thought lambada was like you're just having public sex in front of people.
I also really like the joke about Lisa saying the Entertainment Radio Network and the Radio Entertainment Network. I read that as a great joke about how, at least back then, you'd see posters that would have like positive reviews on them, and you'd be like, wow, this got 4 stars. And then you squint your eyes and look underneath it and see it's like a thing you've never heard of, like the Radio Entertainment Network.
Now like Clear Channel is what, like I Love Music or something like that?
iHeartRadio.
Yeah. Just like, well, iHeartRadio too. They got to be right.
I'd heard all these bad things about Clear Channel, but iHeartRadio, they heart it. And Bob, you're going to get us not purchased by iHeartRadio for an exclusive podcast contract.
I'm holding out for Spotify.
I associate Lisa with those kind of jokes about like just the inanity of language and, you know, things we're just kind of meant to accept. For some reason, that joke reminds me of the Pier 1 or that Pier 1 down by Pier 17 or the bus, like, oh, you're looking for the 92A, things like that. Like these just really dumb little, there are unlimited words out there, but we keep taking the same ones and putting them in different orders in ways that are confusing and hostile.
I also like that this comes from like a mother-daughter experience. Like Marge sees this movie that you also see all the women in line for it. It's all women.
It's like Edna Krabappel and Luann Van Houten are in line.
Just to really let you know it's a chick flick. And so it's Marge excited to see a chick flick. And when she takes Lisa to it, Lisa is totally engrossed with it. Like Julie Thacker has this great comment on the commentary about how like little girls don't know how tired these tropes are when you take them to these movies. So when they see the nerd girl, they go like, she'll never dance with her. No way.
And in that shot, like she's holding shoes
in
one of her hands, like a book in the other. But yeah, they, like Gary was saying, they let Lisa be a little girl. She's not too smart for this movie.
She's not someone who's seen a million movies and knows every movie trick, so she's instead instantly falling for it. Also, this really gave me feels of like, I forgot it was also in the same season, the Zorro film parody.
Yeah, I wrote down the poke of Zorro as well, because I think it's just Hank Azaria playing a Latin guy.
I guess, yes, you're right, it's that. And also how there's lines like in this one that give away that there's you imagine such a crazier movie around lines like reattached foot and wise alcoholic dance coach. Like, what have they been seeing in the film up to this scene?
It is like the characters in the movie are catching the Simpsons audience up with what they didn't see in the movie yet.
But yes, the dance instructor, the star of the movie, he's looking for dance partners, and you don't have to tell those horny animators to draw sexy dance partners. This is seriously, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is the most like boob-filled Simpsons season there ever was. But yes, Lisa is really enjoying this movie.
Now that my severed foot has been reattached, I must win back the coveted dance title, Loco Legs.
As your wise but alcoholic dance coach, I know that somewhere your father is looking down on you and smiling. Oh, there he is.
And now I must choose a beautiful partner for the big dance contest. No.
Oh, he'll never dance with her. She'll have to settle for some Mexican millhouse.
I demand to know your name.
My name is Lisa Bella. That's my name with Bella on the end of it. Ask her, oh God, please ask her to dance.
I shall dance with her. Que malo. Once again, I must sugar my own churro.
Oh, man. Mexican Millhouse made me laugh a lot.
It did.
Mexican Millhouse is going to go masturbate alone. Is the joke, I think.
Yeah.
Just a real direct,
he's
going, just a ghastly double entendre.
He's going straight to the bathroom and getting that done.
Once again.
Once again, yeah.
Once again. This outs Mexican Millhouse as a public masturbator, which I'm looking on the wiki, the trivia section for this.
Wow.
And obviously in the new rules of Simpsons casting, these would not be the voice actors doing these parts, but it is funny to see that the makers of the film knew about Milhouse and cast a guy like Milhouse to be the Baxter, I guess would be the term for it.
And Yardley Smith plays both Lisa Bella and Lisa Jr. in this season.
Yeah.
Two Lisa stand-ins.
This has to be the most she played a non-Lisa part in one season. Yeah. And I love the design on Lisa Bella. I mean, her transformation, her hottie transformation is so great. It's again mocking the nerd takes off the glasses and undoes the ponytail kind of bit, but the extra flourish is that somehow it also enlarges her breasts.
Yeah. Like the dip makes her breasts pop out.
Yeah. Which she likes. She enjoys every part of it.
Oh no, the spin does. Sorry. So
Yes.
that makes sense scientifically.
Sure, the propulsion augmented her breasts or moved them around. But yeah, that Lisa is just all in as they come to the finale of the film. I think their finale costumes are straight out of Strictly Ballroom, I think, or they look like the outfits on the poster. And again, another great line of where he died, I shall live in his apartment.
The dancing is great, like him spinning her around his body, and it's like Sonic the Hedgehog kind of oval.
You're right. It is just like Sonic's feet. Yeah. Man, the animators already are tasked with draw a crazy, crazy dance. Start with the tango and then have it turn extra cartoonish. This is the same season where Homer does basically the same dance to Marge at the Jackrabbit Slims parody.
Right.
And also, at some point during the dance, he impregnated her. And, no one knows. It's a mystery.
So I was correct in Labata. It's just public sex.
Oh, okay.
A public sex act.
Oh. Exciting.
8-year-old Bob was correct.
And so Lisa is in love with dancing.
Oh, Mom, I want to be a dancer.
That's wonderful, honey. We should ask your father, though. Where is he anyway?
Now, homie, when we get to the liquor store, buy me some Jack Daniels and a carton of smokes.
Yes, dear.
I mean, I love when anyone else in the voice acting cast gets to make fun of Marge's voice.
Yes.
Yeah. We're in real life. I'm very sensitive to a Marge impersonation because it's such a hard voice to get right.
Even Julie Kavner can't do it anymore.
It sounds so ghoulish when someone else does it. Like it's a crypt keeper kind of thing.
Nancy's in particular, I love that. Her doing it in Kearney there. It also reminds me of the one where he sure can on the tape recorder. Nancy is masterful at doing it.
Do I sound like that?
And I also, it's really cute animation of Lisa dancing out of the theater. That's really nice. But yeah, Homer got kidnapped, and I wonder how he got the family even got home that day. Maybe eventually Homer wiped that mucus out of his eyes. Also, I noticed that clearly they didn't feel like doing a retake. Jimbo's hat miscolored.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that. Is he in the back seat?
Yeah, he's in the back seat giggling with Dolph. And if you look at Jimbo's typically purple hat, here it is brown.
It's brown.
So, yeah. Not brown.
Are you okay? You sang brown an awful lot.
And so we come back from commercial break straight to Little Vicky's. I love the shot of the automatic finger grinding into the dimple on the sign. It's a great sign.
It's been doing that for a long time.
They must have to fix it every year or so. It just gets ground down. And I'm really glad they didn't get Shirley Temple Black in there because, the late Shirley Temple Black, but Tress MacNeille is probably 20 times funnier than Shirley Temple would have been in this. She is so... Tress MacNeille, she can do like she's channeling a lot of, I think, Dot in here. It's similarities to her Dot character, where Dot can be in Animaniacs, nice and cute, but every once in a while, like boom, just like turns on it, and but she brings so much like angry, aged negativity to the role that is right beneath the surface. I love that with Little Vicky.
And do we have anybody on the podcast have familiarity with Shirley Temple, the real life lady child star of the Great Depression?
Not a ton myself, no.
I watched a YouTube in preparation of this, and it was not unlike the parody, that comes later. It was, a little less extra, but it was a kid dancing.
Yeah,
which, as previously established, I'm against.
She was a huge star, supposedly saved Hollywood in the Great Depression because her movies were so big. And I have a connection because my grandma is also named Shirley, R.I.P., and was born in the same year, the year of Shirley's, 1928. Wow. But I recommend in quotes. So she was just like her movies are adorable and cute, and she was just very precious and was a great dancer and everything, and supposedly wasn't abused too much like Judy Garland. She got to live until she was like in her 80s.
Judy Garland seemed much more scarred by it than Shirley Temple Black was, yes.
But I recommend it in big quotes here, and you might get flagged by the FBI if you watch this, but it's on YouTube. If you look up her first role, it was in this series of shorts called Baby Burlesques, and it is just like 9 minutes of child abuse on camera. And in this short, it's a fun short where it's like a bar set in World War I, mid World War I. Little 3-year-old Shirley Temple plays a sex worker trying to get GIs to come up and see her sometime, and real children are crying in this short, and it's called War Babies.
It was very upsetting. I could only watch like a minute of it skipping around because I was like, God, just again, there was no standards for how to film children then, and they're just like, just make them act, hot lights on them all day, like drink. No. Yeah. Like you can just imagine the director off camera yelling at them like, no, pick up the milk. You go back to the bar and pick up the milk right now.
You call that a striptease?
Oh God. Yes.
Take two. I'm not even kidding. There's like a striptease joke with her being like a stripper.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
It really is.
The nice thing is, thinking about Shirley Temple this whole time, I kept having the phrase Shirley Temple of Elemental Evil pop into my head, which is a D&D joke, but that is more wholesome than the child stripper
I like it.
reality.
Her true Hollywood career was more wholesome than that, but she started in those like body shorts.
And I guess her name still lives on in the drink, the Shirley Temple, which is the ultimate virgin drink, I suppose.
And I think the Fox commissary is called the Shirley Temple commissary or the building, and we ate there.
That's right.
They mentioned it on the commentary.
Yeah, you're right, man. So we have more of a connection to this than I thought.
Great grilled cheese sandwich is that commissary.
That's a quality day. I mean, though, if you ate anything after the fun day we'd had, I think you'll like the taste of it. I think if they handed you like a moldy sandwich, you'd be like, I'm so happy to have sat in the same room with Dan Castellaneta. I don't care what I'm eating. But yes, let's meet Little Vicky.
I remember Little Vicky Valentine. Her perky smile and dancing brought America right out of the Depression.
Well, I think World War II helped a little, Mom.
Don't smart mouth, Lisa.
A great big sunshine hello to you.
Hi, Little Vicky.
Oh, that was such a long time ago. I'm just plain Vicky now.
All right. I'd like to sign my daughter up for lessons, Vicky.
Little Vicky.
But you just said that...
So what dance style were you interested in? We have ever so many. There's ballroom.
Ow! You stepped on my toes again.
If you would just let me lead.
You're not a leader, Seymour. Never have been, never will be.
There's square dancing.
The birdie in the cage, out lady in the center. Now the birdie is purdy and the crows hop in. Pluck the feather all together. Help bend for leather. Put your honey in the saddle.
Or there's the dance that made me ever so famous. Tap.
But I want to learn a dance I can use in real life, like the Tango de la Muerte.
Oh, bless your heart. Let's get you some tap shoes.
Little Vicky, I really think she had her heart set on...
Little advice? Don't live through your child.
Okay.
It's great. Like Tress McNeil can do 6 different kinds of old ladies.
Yeah. Oh God, she's so. I can't think of playing this any better because she totally is just as like, oh, that was so many years ago. Please call me Vicky. It's little Vicky.
Yeah.
Yeah, God.
Just the mind games for right off the bat.
Yeah, and it's great setup of the shot, too, because she's like, that was so many years ago, surrounded by black and white photographs of herself from childhood. I love that.
It's also the name of the studio.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Henry, I know you're a fan of the sweet girl drinks, as they're called.
Yes.
I enjoy them from time to time. Have you ever had a Shirley Temple?
I haven't, actually.
It's non-alcoholic. So.
Yes, yeah. Well, if I'm going to have a girl drink, it better have liquor in it. That's how I feel.
Give me a Judy Garland. That's just a handful of pills.
Oh, bless your heart, Judy.
I love that square dancing joke in this, where he's just kind of saying this string of rhyming nonsense, and all the dancers just kind of shrug at each other. What does the crow come together and then find it in a feather mean in terms of dance?
Did we all have to take square dancing in school? I did in Ohio.
Oh, yeah. It definitely happened during a gym class. It wasn't a dedicated. I think I could have taken a dedicated square dancing class, but didn't. But there definitely were gym classes of, all right, let's do it. And of course, we played Achy Breaky Heart to hear
Ooh, modern square dancing. Yeah, I mean, it feels weird now to think about it, but it was just like the remnants of a program engineered to destroy jazz to promote like American, quote unquote, real American music. I think like Henry Ford was behind it.
They should make you read the Bill of Rights as you square dance just to fully program you. I also like a good little joke about Skinner being a simp and not being able to lead. I like that. I use that word ironically, guys. I also like that Vicky instantly disarms Marge and just like, don't try to live through your children. And Marge just shuts down. Like, okay,
sorry.
Right. Yeah. and same too. I wonder if little Vicky gets extra money from teaching tap to the people instead of like selling the tap shoes and everything. Or I also bet that little Vicky couldn't do the Tango della Muerte, and that's why she's not going to teach it. And so, meanwhile, Bart and Milhouse are going to head off to a week of camping. I wonder if this bit of them about to go camping and then realizing the bullies are going to torture them. If somebody pointed out, like, this is kind of like Camp Krusty, and they're like, okay, let's veer off somewhere else. No camp jokes.
They escape from that B story.
I do like seeing Milhouse throw out his ear medicine. That's a good joke too.
Yeah.
That's like the third ear medicine joke in the show so far, I think.
Oh, yeah.
There's a cat ear medicine joke with the nerds.
Oh, yes, yeah.
He forgets his ear medicine.
Gary forgot his ear medicine, yeah.
Ear medicine is just the funniest kind of medicine.
I guess it is like an extra level of nerdiness. Like an asthma inhaler, it's like, well, he does kind of need that to live, but ear medicine is even dorkier to need.
I love the cat ear medicine that has the pull tab.
Oh, yeah.
For like easy chugging. I just watched that episode last night. Me and my girlfriend have been watching Treehouse of Horror episodes for October.
Homer loved that cat ear medicine. And maybe it's actually, I should be drinking it. It's maybe tastes really great.
Could be very alcoholic too.
But yes, Bart and Milhouse decide they're going to have a different B story this episode.
Yes, sir. This is going to be the best week of our young lives.
I'm gonna pound you two all week.
Oh, what'd we do?
Nothing, but I gotta pound somebody.
Now where do we go?
Well, I don't want to go home. My grandma's sleeping in my bed and she has skin like a basketball.
Wait a minute. Everybody thinks we're at camp this week. We can stay wherever we want.
Yeah, like the Four Seasons. Each room has its own safe.
I've got a better place.
The mall?
Yeah, it's just like my dad always says.
For an evening or a week, there's no place like the mall. Food, fun, and fashion. The mall has it all.
What? What did he say?
Homer is really brainwashed by this mall propaganda.
Yeah. I love that joke that Milhouse couldn't see the thought balloon, and so he's so confused. Like,
I love any variant on a character thinking of something and then the scene continuing as normal.
Just the characters. This is a great extra spin on it because we've already seen this season, like in Battlestar Galactica, of what does it look like to watch Homer have a vision. So this one instead, we get to see the thought balloon, but Milhouse didn't, and he's just very disturbed by Bart wouldn't tell him what his dad says. And also I like that Milhouse loves that there's a safe in every room in the Four Seasons. That's pretty funny. And so meanwhile, as the boys run off, Lisa learns the key to tap dancing.
Now, the key to great dancing is one word. Tappa, tappa, tappa. Tappa, tappa, tappa.
My shoes are making noise.
You must be Ralph.
My daddy shoots people.
I forgot that reaction. I get it now that her reaction is him. She doesn't know his dad's a cop, so she's just like, what? What did your dad do?
It's surprisingly 2020 of Ralph Wiggum.
Oh, yeah.
To just straight up admit it.
I like how unhelpful just tappa tappa tap is. It's like, duh, it's tap dancing. It reminds me of, this is for nobody and it's hard to explain, but there are these birthday boy sketches about like tips for how to do sports correctly, and it's just them like owning at every sport. It's like, just hit it in the hole. It's that easy. Just hit it in the hole.
No, this also really captures like a frustrating thing, not just when you're in a class, but also as an adult, of like having a bad instructor or a bad teacher, just like, well, the way you do it is you just do it. Or the outright refusal to help in any way. And on top of that, you get a lot from Vicky. Those are some of my favorite lines of hers from this forward, where it's about how Vicky is scarred by her childhood, and she's passing along that pain to others. Like, she can't break that pattern. So instead she's like, well, I wish I had tappa, tappa, tappa. But it's just tappa, tappa, tappa. I suppose like through rote memorization, maybe, and constantly repeating one action, maybe it'd be better at tap dancing, I suppose.
The weird thing is it works really well for everyone else.
It's true.
Like, everyone else instantly learns to tap dance, Ralph Wiggum best among them. But even just, Sherry and Terry, like, everyone gets really good at it just from tappa, tappa, tappa.
It's been like 7 years since I Love Lisa, and Ralph Wiggum was just a real showman in that episode. He was a true thespian, so he's good at performing, I think.
Oh, yeah, wait, this is President's Day weekend as well, isn't it?
Right, you're right.
Wow, I hadn't thought of that.
It's like his talents only come out on President's Day, Ralph
He's
Wiggum.
like a very specific lycanthrope.
Yes.
Like, just on President's Day weekend, he turns into a star.
And I mean, of course, too, if you're going to do a comedy show about a dance class, you need to have some jokes about the one boy in the class. So since Milhouse is busy with Bart, then it has to be Ralph. Like, I could see in another episode where Milhouse isn't in the B plot, it's Milhouse who is the good dancer in the class, though. I guess Lisa, I prefer Lisa partnered with Ralph jokes than Lisa partnered with Milhouse jokes. I think actually that joke earlier in the episode, that to me is how I feel about, like, why does Lisa always have to get partnered with Milhouse? She shouldn't settle for Milhouse.
Yeah,
I don't like this.
I hate the Lisa in Milhouse Dark Future. I like the Milhouse doesn't count future better.
Exactly, yeah. She had a one-time thing with Milhouse, and we all just look over it. So I also couldn't help but identify with Lisa as the awkward nerd who's like, oh, just do it. It's easy. And then when you're not instantly good at it, having everybody laugh at you as you try to learn, it's sucks. It's not fun.
Yeah, well, this happens a little bit later, but it's a similar scene when she relocates herself to be further away from the teacher.
Oh, yeah.
The floor is a little crooked here. That was highly relatable. Like, anytime when I was in school and there would be some kind of group activity, like we were all learning the recorder, one of those weird little kid instruments that you have to learn that nobody plays as an adult. And me just like not feeling confident in it and just trying to be as far away from the teacher as possible and just not making noise, just faking it.
My mom, she still picks up the recorder every now and then and enjoys
really?
playing it. Yes. Yeah. My mom plays a lot of instruments. So not, on an amateur level, but she's good. Hey, I love my mom. She's great at playing all music. She's the best. So we cut back to the mall. We have a quick Moog selling store joke, which is there was a real spate of them at this time, wasn't there, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely referenced in Mission Hill, the organ store, and just like this was like the end of the mall piano / organ store. But this scene is weird because there's a cut scene that pays off this guy because he will go on to sing about the shoplifting policy at the store.
Yeah, it's funny here. There's me and Bob watched the deleted scenes together right before recording, and there's like a few in here that just go like, that's really funny. They should have kept that in. But especially I wish we'd seen just a little more of this guy desperate to sell his Moog or his morgue, not a Moog.
As a big keyboard dork, like this turned me into an internet pedant because I'm like, that doesn't sound anything like a Moog. Like a Moog has a very specific sound. And then I realized, it's supposed to be a Korg, which is another thing, but adding the M there kind of muddies it.
Oh,
So it's similar to the Moog logo, but it doesn't sound anything like it.
Sorry, I'm mispronouncing it with that Moog. I'm a Philistine.
Hey man, I could totally be wrong too. I think it's Moog.
No, it is Moog. It's actually Mog. I play Final Fantasy quite a bit. The sounds that come out of that guy.
I think Duckman had a Moog store joke as well. I think when we did that podcast. The Fun Machine was at.
That was Mission Hill.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of King Chicken owned
house.
one of them too in his house too. So yeah, that was the other one. We've had so many of those jokes in recent episodes.
This was like I think 80s was peak mall, but this is just as people were learning about buying things online. So I think the decline happened here. Like this is the beginning of the downfall of the mall.
Yeah, you're right. In 2000, this is one of the last times I could make a joke about like the mall. We all go there. We know these things. Hadn't been killed by Amazon and the big box retailers just yet. Now this has to be the end of malls, right? Right now,
if they're not dead already, this is it. This is just they're in hospice care.
Yeah.
There's a mall close to my old house that I moved from, and what was really interesting was in kind of an attempt to stay alive, they were taking those empty kind of dead storefronts and doing pop-up, like local pop-ups. Like, do you want like a taste of Portland? You know, do you want to get locally handmade coffee and stuff? And they would just rent it temporarily. It'd be like 1 month only.
Okay.
Yeah.
It made me kind of excited for the idea of a mall that, centers that. Like the idea of a rotating selection of shops that are just there for a month or two, like actually sounded kind of neat to me, but I have no idea how successful it was.
I still like malls a lot, and when I visited home for the last time a few years ago, or a year ago rather, I went to my local mall. I probably talked about this on podcast before, but it is like 80% of the storefronts are closed. It might as well be abandoned. And then there was like local stores in it, and maybe like, oh, that Chick-fil-A is still open. That predates me, but that's basically it.
You can't stop that Christian chicken seller. They've got Christ on their side.
And
you can't shut them down.
They're very close to an entrance, which is why they're still around. And whenever I go to Canada, hopefully I'll be going there a lot more soon. I would have my fiance like, just take me to a mall. I want to see what Canadian malls are like. And for whatever reason, at least in Vancouver, malls are thriving. Like people go to malls. Every storefront is open. There's like crowds here. It reminded me of like being in the mall in like 1994.
That's wild. I mean, well, when I had visited Tokyo, their malls were still pretty active up until early 2018. That's the last time I was there. But yeah, I think, I haven't visited my local childhood mall in like 5 years, and it was basically a movie theater that was still active attached to a rotting body, like that. Pretty much everything else was gangrene except for that movie theater. But yeah, as Bart and Milhouse are having some fun at the mall, they then find out it's closing and they don't know what to do. They run up into the air vents. I like Bart's direction of like, quiet, just keep scurrying. That's a good one.
I love that it happens immediately, including trapping Stan inside there. The shutters just roll down instantly, and you see Stan disappear behind the metal door.
I guess he's just going to enjoy his machines all night long. So yeah, then Bart and Milhouse drop down into some kind of store, and they realize they're surrounded by they think they land in golden worms, but it turns out it's chocolate and gummy. And I do think their reactions in this montage is just so similar to the season 9 thing where Bart and Ralph have the magic key that can open any door.
It is like kid chaos, having kid unlimited freedom as a kid.
Yeah,
and very specifically like Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
right? Like being alone in a consumer paradise and having no rules. Like
it was
that fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a zombie reference later, and it was pretty hip to reference Dawn of the Dead in the year 2000.
Oh yeah. That was the cool guy thing. Like you could really get a lot of cred if you said, Dawn of the Dead is way better than Night of the Living Dead. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What it says about consumerism is chilling.
Chill.
And also an accident.
But yes, Bart and Milhouse's reaction to the candy, it's a cute little clip here.
Where are we going? Quiet, just keep scurrying. Worms! Gold! Wait, this is just chocolate. Chocolate! And these are gummy worms! Gummy! Warheads, jelly bellies. We're like two kids in a candy store. Yes!
When I did like the gag of Bart eating that one type of fruit-flavored candy and like it losing flavor within 4 seconds and just spitting it out. That's I think it's pretty realistic for that old-timey candy.
It reminded me of working at a grocery store. We had all those like giant like bins full of bulk candy, and it took me like a few months into working there to realize like, oh, just steal food. It's fine. Everyone's stealing food left and right. So just like you be stocking shelves, you just swing by the candy aisle, grab some pieces of candy, and hit the road.
Man, that's so nice. When I worked at the movie theater, you had to like, whoops, somebody returned an M&M's. Cash out. Too bad. And then you just eat it.
It's been 20 years. I can't be tried for this.
Well, just like Marge eating that grape, though, you need to apologize to God, Bob. That's, you broke a commandment.
I'll make my peace with him soon enough.
Also in their bits, I like them going to the big cookie store, which Homer bought a big cookie from in season 2.
Big cookie stores are no longer a thing.
Man, well,
the original cookie is what it was called.
Well, also that type of candy bin thing. I feel like that is another thing that virus cleanliness has gotten rid of.
All of our Mr. Bulkies are just being set on fire now, cleansing them.
I don't miss communal food troughs. I think that was probably something we should have thought of, before the pandemic.
But it puts you closer with your fellow man when you're all like putting your gross fingers on the same thing.
Just sticking that filthy hepatitis-covered shovel into a bin full of warheads.
The mall is like the number one place for communal bins because that's how you get Legos as well.
Yeah.
I remember just feeling really good to put my hand in a bunch of Legos and then realizing like, how many kids' horrible disease little mitts have gone in there.
Well, let's not even talk about the fun pits in McDonald's. Yeah. I like that behind the scenes at the giant cookie place that they just have a giant roll of pre-made cookie dough that they slice out. That's really great.
They name check Toll House for some reason. That's the cookie dough choice.
and I like that of the only memes I've seen made of this one, the image of the stuff shooting out of Milhouse's nose, I think I have seen that one shared around. Just because it's a funny Milhouse drawing. And Big Cookie, I wonder if that's the one with macadamia nuts that Bart's eating. And then very briefly, it becomes a Jaws parody.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Look at this place. How could this happen? It's candy chewed, wigs pulled from stands, cheese packages poked and repoked.
Every sign points to one obvious culprit, a giant rat. You'll have to shut down the mall.
On President's Day weekend, are you crazy?
Crazy with concern for the public, yes. Now shut this place down before the old folks come in for their morning walk.
And that's our Dawn of the Dead joke.
Yes, yeah, that's great. But just that, it becomes like a giant shark and the cop trying to shut it down, but he actually succeeds. He does a lot better than Roy Scheider, whatever. How he does it in Jaws.
Rob Schneider,
thank you. I kind of want to be a mall walker now. Basically, every morning I walk around my neighborhood a couple miles. So in a way, I'm a mall walker, and I see actually the same couple of old folks walking by, and we wave at each other now. We've got that level of familiarity. But also, cheese packages poked and repoked. Great line.
That's great. Yeah.
Which is what kids do, man. If I saw a cheese package as a kid,
definitely
away.
Poking that cheese. It's so cold and satisfying.
And then squishes right back. It's like cold silly putty. But yeah. So Wiggum, it briefly is going to become a Wiggum versus the boys kind of thing. While meanwhile, Lisa's having a really hard time learning to dance.
Okay, from tappa tappa tappa.
Lisa's bad dancing makes my feet sad.
Let's take 5.
What am I doing wrong, little Vicky?
Well, you're falling a lot. Maybe you should work on that.
Yeah, well, no offense, but maybe I need a little more instruction than just tappa, tappa, tappa.
Why, back when I was your age, I had 43 movies under my belt, and I had to do it without tappa, tappa, tappa. I would have killed for tappa, tappa, tappa.
Sorry, I'm just frustrated.
Well, you'll never save Grandpa's farm with that attitude. You've just got to turn that frown upside down. That's a smile, not an upside-down frown. Work on that, too.
Work on that, too. Oh, so mean. So mean. Well, it's like Lisa can't do anything right in little Vicky's eyes like that. And And it's so real how they've got little Vicky. Like, when I was growing up, I didn't even have that. So you're lucky. And also, I have no other way to teach you other than just say, you suck. You feel so bad for Lisa, but Vicky, like, even she can't do a smile. What is the difference between a smile and an upside down frown? Vicky knows.
Whatever it was, Lisa was not doing it.
And also, we're just saying, like, I'm not going to save Grandpa's farm that way. Another great line. Like, everything little Vicky says, I just love it.
Really good.
The next scene begins with Homer and Marge getting a postcard from Bart. I feel like Bart's in danger of revealing his whole scheme by sending him that.
Yeah, classic blunder on Bart's part. Writing from the old Vitamin Barn.
Yeah, the idea of getting a Vitamin Barn postcard is hilarious to me. And I would do that. Like, I think that sending a postcard that's just the outside of a mall story is very funny.
I guess Bart could count on Homer not getting it and having no thoughts about it. And so then Lisa appears, and like many of us who start a thing and you're instantly not good at it, you want to quit. I mean, I had this with, and I didn't have a little Vicky. I had very supportive teachers, but it was when I was taking Japanese class as an adult, like 8 years ago. I did good with the first one because they were like afternoon classes on the weekend. But then the second run of it was 7 a.m. in the city. And I was like, I don't fucking live in the city. I got to wake up at 5 a.m. to do. I did it for 2 weeks, and then I was like, fuck this. Like, I should have stuck with it. I probably could be chatting away in conversational Japanese now if I hadn't. But someday there'll be a Japanese class that won't be at a bad time of the day for me. But yeah, in this case, Marge and Homer are the most supportive they have ever been to Lisa in the show. The complete opposite how they usually act.
There's our Broadway baby. Hey, dig that crazy rhythm.
I'm just walking. Listen, I know I said I wanted to be a dancer, but...
And you will be a dancer.
Look at you, all sugar and spice instead of equations and test tubes. You're Daddy's precious dancing queen.
And you look adorable.
Now, honey, what were you trying to say before we kept interrupting with our loving proudness?
Yes, our tiny tapper. What was it you were going to say after I wanted to be a dancer, but
I just need more practice. See ya.
Oh, what's that awful sound?
The furnace?
There's some good apparent blindness there.
I love that. I love the term loving proudness. Like, that's so funny. I like that Homer's line also makes it clear that he's in a very sexist way happy that Lisa is doing something feminine instead of test tubes.
Equations and test tubes.
Yeah. And the one time they've decided to be nice, but I also just love Marge's very stupid line of like, what were you going to say after I wanted to be a dancer, but... Once they know it's Lisa, their objectivity goes away, and they just love every sound being made.
Lisa raised the bar too high, I think.
In
the household.
Yeah, that's Bart would be telling her right now she should have been coasting on disappointment all these years. So then we come back from commercial break to our second of the two movie parodies.
Yes, this one, I mean, there were several of these types of movies. So I believe it's a parody of the film The Little Colonel. But Shirley Temple was in 4 movies with Bill Bojangles Robinson, and this is one of them. And so yeah, Harry Shearer doing this voice, and Mike Scully said when he was in the booth, he said, "How racist do you want this?"
They definitely wouldn't have this voice acting choice now.
Yeah.
But I think they knew, like, with Shearer saying that is him accepting that, like, this is a parody of the racist portrayals of characters like in these movies. Like, because I don't think the actor himself, Bojangles, talked in that way, but he was instructed to by white directors.
He was, the magic black man. And then he was like, well, I don't know nothing about blank. you know.
Yeah. And in other words, I don't want to repeat on but the whole dance sequence is very well done too. Like
and no gags outside of the cat, like the fake rubbing its eyes cat.
That's my favorite.
But then
visual.
it dances perfectly afterwards.
Yeah,
it feels like there's like a little person in a cat costume at that point.
To fake it, but this is a great episode for animals in The Simpsons.
Yes,
like I love the way that The Simpsons draw animals and their facial expressions, and the cat looking shockingly disbelieving, and then getting up and just having a big dancing smile.
They love that cat so
funny.
much. It comes up in the stinger. It like interrupts the credits. The Gracie Film logo. It pops up.
They've never had a visual interruption of the Gracie Film logo, but they love that shot so much. I mean, the impossibly long cat arms coming sideways from the screen to wipe its face is so good. Like, cause I mean, you can just imagine the people working on it on the day. They're like, well, if we put the cat arms in front of the cat, it kind of bats at him. So we got to come in sideways to really make it work on the cat. Like, and all the dancing animation is just really well done. I mean, it feels like sometimes there's some dropped frames, or it's like not obviously as fluid as a dance sequence would be with like in a cinematic animated feature, but they don't have that kind of money for that. And but I think they do really good for this parody. Like, it does have the feel of one of those old timey movies.
Yeah, they're not moving the camera around very much. It's just like a flat shot of like characters performing in front, like almost like proscenium staging.
Totally, yeah. That's like so. I would never watch those movies in full. I maybe have seen clips of things like this because that's all those movies were. That they were like, well, you're going to get to see an excellent dance sequence in between a bunch of plot that is completely meaningless and garbage. Like, of just, I'm ever so sad my cat's going to die. Like, just junk like that, or Saving Grandpa's Farm, or they're all just setups for like the Get Happy song that Judy Garland sings. Nobody remembers all of the plot about building up the farmhouse to save the farm from before that. They just remember that great dance sequence.
Singing in the Rain had a pretty good plot.
I will agree, yeah.
That's the first time, though.
Well, it's a good plot for like an hour, and then he's like, and then I imagine this would be in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just a long symbolic sequence.
It's very silly in that it's just like they find ways to justify, well, it's like, well, his friend is tap dancing and singing to cheer him up. It's like, oh no, this is a rehearsal. Now it's just like, well, they're just singing in their apartment because they're insane.
Yes, yeah.
It's the morning and they've gone insane.
I mean, they have been up all night, Bob. I'd be dancing and singing and breaking my couch all the same as Debbie Reynolds was. The Make 'em Laugh, that maybe is my favorite in that. It's a great, Danny Kaye is great in that. Yeah.
I just imagine how much like nerve damage he did for that one scene though.
Yes, after that, Lisa realizes the cat dances better than she does, and she's got no chance. Then
cat dance is really good, though. I think Lisa's being a little hard on herself.
Can't compare yourself to a professional movie cat of the 30s.
The cat's been trained and abused.
Yeah. And is long dead. Meanwhile, we cut back to Wiggum in a bit of a, well, I guess actually it's a mall rat scenario.
We'll catch that mall rat.
Sure hope this Acme kit works.
Gosh, that cheese looks good. Think I could grab it before that anvil hits?
Oh, I don't know, Chief. It's 1,000,000 to 1.
I like those odds. Oh! My mistake was grabbing the cheese.
It's funny. It's funnier that it doesn't hit him in the head. It hits him between his shoulder blades. It seems more painful.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It lets him say a line afterwards too, instead of being knocked unconscious. Yeah, or maybe too, since they knew they were going to crush the head of a cat later, they're like, I haven't hit a different place. But his lines are like, I like those odds, and my mistake was grabbing the cheese. Like, so Wiggum, underrated Wiggum episode. This one, he's really great. There's a good deleted scene here that I wish was in the episode where Wiggum is saying he got the cheese, like he stole it from a business, and Lou asks him like, hey, you need a court order to do that. He's like, well, if the mayor's got a problem with it, he's just got to speak to this. And he pulls out a piece of paper that is an official court order signed by the mayor.
Yeah, I think Lou goes, he signed it and everything.
And he's like, yeah, so that's why I don't think he'll be bothered by it. It's another of those jokes that I'm like, God, we'd be quoting this all the time if it had been in the episode. But that tap dancing, it takes up a lot of time, and you can't cut. If you cut that, it's a real pain on the animators. Then we see that Frink somehow got hired to build a spaceship that he seems to be treating like a real spaceship with like wires and everything inside. But Lisa finds out she isn't getting a part.
Okay, kids, tonight's the big night. Now remember, the important thing is to just dance flawlessly.
Excuse me, why isn't my name in the program?
It is, silly. You've got the most important part of all.
Curtain puller?
No one can see the show if the curtain isn't open.
My parents are counting on seeing me dance, and I've worked ever so hard.
I'm sorry, Lisa, but giving everyone an equal part when they're clearly not equal is called what again, class?
Communism!
That's right. And I didn't tap all those Morse code messages to the Allies till my shoes filled with blood just to roll out the welcome mat for the Reds.
All right, I'll be the stupid curtain puller.
Smoothly. Pulla, pulla, pulla.
I get your puller, puller, puller.
Excuse me, Lisa, but I couldn't help but overhear your nerdly predicament. Maybe I can be of assistance with the dancing and the twisting and the kung fu fighting.
I like to think that little Vicky had befriended Ayn Rand in her life, that she was part of that early objectivist collective.
This feels like it's the same message as The Incredibles.
Ah, you're right.
A very popular film.
If everybody's special, then no one is. I mean, this definitely is putting Vicky in stark contrast to what most teachers do, which is probably the right thing to do, or a better thing to do with kids, which, like, look, who cares if you're bad at it? Every kid should get a chance. Don't make it doesn't matter if a performance is good of a thing nobody cares about, so just let every kid dance and don't make him feel like shit. But that's not what Vicky agrees with. She probably also wants kids to still be playing dodgeball, that little Vicky.
I like the very subtle little note of Lisa picking up little Vicky's language.
Oh, yes.
You know, I've tried ever so hard, like just picking up that cadence. That comes up a couple times in this episode.
Lisa gives an extra smile when she says that. She's like, come on, I'm fluffing your ego by saying ever so.
I enjoy how patronizing pulla, pulla, pulla.
I know.
She's even bad at like pulling the curtain open.
Vicky won't let her do anything on her own. It's so cruel. Yeah, and that also she tapped Morse codes. That's so funny till her shoes filled with blood. Just to roll out a welcome wagon for the Reds. Love that. And obviously the Cold War long over in 2000, but she is carrying that onward.
There's a really dark implication here too, because she says, "What's that called, children?" And all the other dancers are like, "Communism," which implies that she's been teaching them her objectivist philosophy between dance lessons.
Yeah, you know, she knows these are the right kids to indoctrinate. Like she's planning for the future. A bunch of new Ben Shapiros were born in that class.
This is why Terry and Terry co-run TPUSA.
Yeah, I like too. I think in the Scully years they were doing more stuff where Frink would befriend the kids. Like like this, especially him connecting with Lisa and the nerdiness. It reminds me too of They Saved Lisa's Brain.
Yeah, like they give him a reason to be in this scene, not just because he's Frink.
Yeah,
and to help Lisa.
He's building a rocket ship. But they must still sell them, but I haven't seen anything in like those dancing Coke can things in a long time.
I haven't either, and apparently that was like a fad, like novelty item in like the mid 80s. I didn't know like it was that specific, but yeah, the dancing Coke can was like the fun, like the cool novelty thing.
Yeah, I have owned several dancing Coke cans as a kid. The kind of thing that my parents would get bored of and then give to me, and I would stand and play music, and it would it'd lurch.
Oh, that's funny. I had the opposite of, I would beg my parents for these things and they wouldn't get them for me. They bought me a lot of crap, but if it was on a vacation, that's normally when I'd see one of these things and I'd be like, hey, we're on vacation, buy me that. And they were usually less ready to do that.
Where's the dancing cat ear medicine can?
You have to mod your Coke can, but you violate the warranty in that way, so I wouldn't.
I'm gonna download some plans from the dark web on how to do it.
Also in this scene here, it looks like there's a globe with darts attached to it that looks a lot like the artist's rendering of what the coronavirus looks like. So I'm pretty sure the Simpsons predicted this in this one scene here. I mean, obviously, Frank's plan of taking the dancing thing that reacts to clapping and putting it in Lisa's shoes, absolutely makes no sense. It doesn't physically work in any way.
He should have altered it in some way, like added something to it. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah, who cares? But I feel like another episode would have worked slightly harder on a physical explanation for it. But you know what?
He just pulled out a pair of shoes. Like instead of taking the chip out, just been like, I've been studying this technology. Here's some here's some shoes that do that.
Yeah, it's true. Just give her magic shoes instead of augmenting her own. I bet if all those dorks hadn't been taken over to the Futurama writers' room, I bet they'd have pitched that kind of thing. But Colin and Keeler are not there anymore. So yes, Lisa gets some electronic help with her new shoes. Then we cut back to the mall for the final scene of that sequence, and I know it's animal violence and it's kind of cruel, but I really laughed hard at that cat getting hit.
I'm gonna assume it lived.
Yeah, it's just sleeping, Bob, upside down and inside out.
And there's a backup lion.
Yeah. Oh God, just the quickness of like jump out, hit the cheese, bam. You want me to release the backup line? Yes, please.
And these are female lions, the hunters.
Oh, okay.
These are male lions.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Well, they don't mention that, but I know that from Lion King.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right.
The classic movie.
Then there's another deleted scene. That's why I pulled up the deleted scene so me and Bob could watch it, because when the lion is revealed to see the boys, it's very distracting that Milhouse is putting a shirt on after that scene. I don't know what was going on until now. We found out.
Yeah, Milhouse was diving for change in the pond in the pool in the mall, and goldfish were going where they shouldn't, is what he says.
I love that
oughtn't,
line.
I think.
Yeah, where they oughtn't, and he's like looking into the front of his pants. That was funny. But the filth of swimming around in that pool and pulling out pennies, like, it's...
Oh yeah, all the fountains were removed from my mall ages ago. The fountain was just a fixture of the malls.
That's
back
so
in the
sad.
day.
All those pennies.
The town's worst soups. Like right there.
Yeah. So, yes, there's a little bit of the mountain lion attacking here. I've got in a sound clip.
Okay, Mr. Rat, we've got a little playmate for you.
Should I get the backup lion, Chief?
Would you?
Can you see the lion anywhere? Well, do you see him or not? Are you saying he's right on the other side of that plant? Okay. Run!
I like the lion doesn't make a sound until Bart opens the thing.
And if you're not like 90 years old, Milhouse is making Lou Costello noises, like when he sees a Frankenstein perhaps, or a wolfman, or a giant gorilla. I thought it was like a Three Stooges thing, but no.
Yeah.
I've never seen any...
They're like, I've seen your Curly, I've seen your Shemp.
I've seen your Shemp too. Yeah, that's in the Vampire Lounge in Burns' house.
I was exposed to so much Three Stooges as a kid, but never Abbott and Costello. Never seen anything except for like the Warner Brothers versions of those characters, the mice.
You must have at least seen like one version of Who's on First, right? You probably saw that.
Probably that in like clip packages, but never like Abbott and Costello meet whatever or go here.
I recall in childhood that I saw tributes to Abbott and Costello, and they mainly existed because Jerry Seinfeld was a huge fan of them, and so he was just like, I can make an Abbott and Costello documentary happen but with a snap of my fingers because I'm that powerful in the 90s. The reaction shot, I like how it's played almost too long, but I like that Bart cannot understand that Milhouse's reaction clearly means that the mountain lion's on the other side. They run off. They think they find an exit, but it's actually an exit that's coming soon. That's a good little misdirect. And then they're about to be torn apart. Bart gets the smart idea of grabbing a ball of yarn, distracting the cat with it, and it's almost too cute until at the snap of a finger, the mountain lion jumps on Milhouse and starts tearing him apart until a new ball of yarn appears.
I personally needed a funny yarn store sign, and I didn't get one. There's just a bin of yarn outside of a store.
They could pitch on that yarn store name all night, Bob, or they could go and hug their children.
Those kids are all grown up now. They would have forgiven their dads.
If they'd see that yarn joke now at 23 and they'd be like, I appreciate you missing my baseball game for that, then this yarn joke needed to happen. I like the just the reveal of Milhouse torn up back and hair.
Not enough for me, frankly. If this was Homer, I think we'd see like visible spine, organs.
You'd see his ribs, like happened. Because I can't remember which episode it is, but there's one where his back gets torn open like a cabinet.
Yeah, that would be the badger that was in the Santa's Little Helper's house.
Yeah, Tale of Two Springfields, I think that's the episode.
Yeah, they're like, Dad, are you okay? Yeah. And he pulls up his shirt and has exposed intestines. I think, too, Homer takes some damage and a part of his brain is poking out in another one.
Yeah.
But that might have been a treehouse. That I'm not completely sure on.
I guess they can't expose Milhouse's innards.
There's a fine line of how violent you can be with Milhouse, but they push it farther every time. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Milhouse gets knocked unconscious by Marge with a
phone, right? A baby monitor.
Yeah, baby monitor to the dome. Yeah, but Wiggum lets us know that everything's fine now.
You okay, Milhouse?
Nothing that a handful of gummy bears can't fix.
Well, looks like the cat got the rat.
And that's the end of that tale.
Chief, should we try and get the mountain lion back in its crate?
I repeat.
I love that. The dusting of hands. They were very into the dusting of hands in this time on The Simpsons.
I'm so worried about that lion swallowing an entire ball of yarn.
It's going to hurt coming out on that lion.
I mean, if you've ever had a pet eat dental floss or whatever, it's a journey coming out the other end.
Let's just say it coughs it up in the next scene. Let's say that. I guess too, it's just a loose mountain lion walking around the mall from then on. And right after that, there's one more deleted scene of a scalper outside of the dance recital that Homer buys $300 tickets from.
Yeah.
Even though he has his own tickets.
Well, we don't see him buy them. The scene ends with him pulling out money, thousands of dollars.
Yeah, Homer has a rich man's wad of cash he's pulling out too, the kind that a rich guy in a movie has. I have too much money to have a wallet, and the scalper guy is the same scalper from the Super Bowl as well.
Okay,
but yes, we return backstage. Everybody's getting ready for the big dance.
Little Vicky, I figured out how to dance. I can be in the show now.
I'm sorry, Lisa. People go to a children's dance recital expecting a certain level of professionalism.
But you don't understand.
I ate too much plastic candy.
Heavens to Betsy! The star of the show is sick. Whatever will we do? There's only one person who can get us out of this pickle. Lisa?
Yes?
Help me into Ralph's costume. Showtime, children. Let's go. Okay, curtain puller. This is your moment to shine. Oh, it's too important. I'll do it for you. Lean, muscular children of Mars, we bring you candy.
Let's walk over to them.
Why walk when you can dance?
Where's Lisa?
Shh. This plot is hard enough to follow as it is.
So season 1 brought us Where's That Bart? We finally have Where's Lisa?
Yeah. Those are the kind of exclamations made for Marge.
What about the Quickie Mart? Yeah, this reminds me, for whatever reason, I know it's Vicky is stuck in the past, so this is an atomic age side kind of setting. Going to Mars. It reminds me of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, where the Martians are standing for communists and the American children go there to teach them about candy and chocolate cake, and they eat pills for dinner and everything.
You're right, yeah. They know nothing of Christmas on Mars.
Now the children want chocolate cake for dinner.
Oh, Droppo. Yeah,
Laziest Man on Mars. I've seen that movie 40 times with riffing.
Yeah, with
every version of riffing that's happened, I've seen the movie alongside it.
Let's see, did Riff Tracks do it too? I knew
they did it too.
Titanic did.
Yeah, so there's 3 versions of it you can watch riffed.
I just have the MST3K one so memorized. I watched the cinematic Titanic one once, but yeah, you're right, Bob. It is so is there life on Mars? 50s kind of thing. I definitely think she's been doing making kids do the same tap dancing thing since 1953. I think it's just been the same for over 50 years now, and the costumes are all the same too. I mean, I also love just Vicky can't imagine imagine that Lisa would do it. So she's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
going to be me. Like that was her
really
plan.
similar to
all-
Mickey Rooney playing Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, actually, it's the same joke.
I
You're
can play
right.
that.
Jellicers.
Yeah, also the dimpling machine. I love that in how cruel it is. But also, she got hit with the dimpling machine too. Growing up, you can tell she's like, "What am I saying, might?" And yeah, too, that she's very insistent, like that a children's dance recital is expecting a certain level of professionalism. God, love that. Also, Ralph knows that candy is plastic. Like he doesn't say I ate too much candy. He says I ate too much plastic.
You can handle a little plastic in your digestive system. Not this much.
And I love the descriptor of lean, muscular children of Mars.
And they sing and tap to Spaceship Lollipop, and that is from the Good Ship Lollipop is from the 1934 movie Bright Eyes with Shirley Temple. We saw a parody of that in Homer Kong.
Yeah, I never, until preparing for this, I never actually watched the Shirley Temple version. I just think the Good Ship Lollipop has 2.5 lines that are then interrupted by being eaten.
Yes.
Like that's how I only know it as the Simpsons version. Where the bears stand, that's how it goes.
Not eaten by Homer in the real movie.
Sadly, yeah, she just like walks. It's kind of boring. She's like walking down a train. She's just like singing to a bunch of dads in a train. So I don't understand why. Though the version I saw on YouTube was also like annoyingly colorized, so it was damaging to my eyes to watch. The parody version of the Good Ship Lollipop is kind of funny, I guess. It's gingerbread men like to do hip hop.
On the spaceship, lollipop, gingerbread men like to do hip hop and chocolate chips. We just love to dance on Mars where everything's made from.
There she is. Hi, honey. Wow, look at her go.
Yeah, that pressure we put on her really paid off.
What are you doing?
I can't help it. It's the shoes.
Nobody upstages little Vicky.
Oh, please stop.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, you don't really hear enough lyrics. Maybe like if you listen very closely, there's funny stuff, but it's not really devoted too much to being a parody.
But as Lisa is sadly standing off stage, her feet find the power to dance. And as more and more percussion is made, she dances on the stage. And I love Marge and Homer celebrating like, wow, that pressure we put on her really paid off.
But this animation is so good. I watched it a few times, and like kudos to the director and her team just for being asked to do this and not quitting.
Yeah. So it's going to be an extended, like, matching up with the animation of dancing for like these incredibly complicated dance moves in an old-timey style. I think some of the posing really reminded me of like the Gene Kelly Dancing with Jerry the Mouse cartoon.
Yeah,
bits.
and she even does the make 'em laugh like Matrix wall run.
You're right. Yeah, man, you're right. Danny Kaye was wall running way before it was Kung Fu move.
Or Mirror's Edge.
Hell yeah.
Original Mirror's Edge.
And in my first viewing of this, as Lisa starts dancing better and better and challenging little Vicky, I recall in 2000 when I first saw this, I was sure little Vicky was going to dance herself to death.
Me too, I think.
I thought like that seemed like the obvious and mean place to go. And especially like, obviously if Shirley Temple just played this character, you wouldn't kill her because you'd be respectful to the guest star to an extent. But when you make up little Vicky and you're not going to bring her back, I kept thinking, especially with how mean this season has been, that they just kill little Vicky. Like she's an old woman being pushed to dance as hard as she can to keep up with a robot thing. And also it kind of has the feeling of like a
John Henry.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
How did I forget the last? How can I forget the last name that is my name?
What's his name? Oh, me. Yeah. They killed Ma, but they let little Vicky live.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Well, Ma died so little Vicky could live. Don't be naive.
It's true.
It's all part of the Iodon. Just follow the trails.
Also, with this tap dancing freakout, I think for a moment I conflated it with the one that happens to Butters in South Park.
Oh, I don't recall that one.
Oh, Butters it's in the You Got Served parody episode.
Yeah, I was watching that late, or 20 years ago.
Yeah, only 15 years ago, I think. Yeah, that one, Butters had an accident on stage tap dancing, which killed like dozens of people. But that's Lisa here. She only threatens to kill everybody, and then it's really just a cute drawing of Homer tripping her, and then she's just flat on her back with her legs moving.
Just a very gentle trip that Homer lays out.
Very sweet.
Right before that, there's like I love that Marge goes, "Lisa's gone berserk."
Oh yes,
really loud. I love that exclamation.
She'll kill us all.
And so the episode ends with the truth revealed. I guess actually the truth revealed twice.
Self-tapping shoes? I'm ever so pissed.
I'm sorry, Vicky. I just wanted to be a dancer so badly.
I understand. We all do crazy things when we're desperate. I once destroyed Buddy Ebsen's credit rating.
Why?
He knows why.
Jesus, Mary and Glavin, these shoes are in the off position.
You mean I danced all by myself?
See, honey? All you needed was to believe.
What are you talking about, Professor Frank? They're clearly in the on position. See? On.
I was merely trying to spare the girl's feelings, you insensitive clod.
Oh, well, now that I look even closer...
Forget it, Dad. Oh, I guess I'm never gonna be your Broadway baby.
That's not true, honey. You can always write a depressing Broadway play of some kind.
You think so?
Sure. It could be a story about people coming to terms with things.
Hey, yeah, you could load it up with lots of swears. That's what David Mamet does.
Oh, I love you guys.
Uh-oh, it's out of its matrix. Nobody move.
Why, it's just a cute little weasel. Hello there, Mr. Weasel. I'm down!
I like his "I'm down there."
Yeah.
Though this is seriously the 5th time this season Homer has screamed over the credits.
Yeah, I don't like this ending. The episode's funny, but it's like it's unclear what's even happening to Homer. There's so many strange sounds happening. Maybe that's the joke, but I'm just like, what is this weasel ball doing?
Well, Frank said he was planning to turn it into a weapon. We just don't know what kind. No, I mean, I feel like the joke... I kind of I've complained that this is too mean this season, so here I am being a hypocrite. But I think it would be funnier if little Vicky danced herself to death and they're like saying like, boy, it's pretty awkward after I guess I killed little Vicky or whatever. I guess they'll put the blood on Homer's hands, but they don't want Lisa to accidentally kill someone, I guess.
And Yardley Smith is on the commentary and she's like, can't Lisa ever win anything?
Oh, yeah. You can tell that really drives her crazy. Like, she's getting pretty sick of having Lisa always lose. I gotta say, that joke of Homer forgetting to pretend that the dance shoes were off is funny, and yet again, a Futurama joke beat him to the punch on this several months earlier.
And it's funnier. Yeah, so and I second that emotion. They're like, oh, Bender, your motion chip wasn't working this whole time. It's like, no, wait, it was actually working at double capacity.
And I still barely felt anything. Yeah.
It was a better version of that, of this sort of like, it was your blank all along, your heart, your brain, your own skills.
Dumbo's feather.
Yeah, though I do like Homer's overcompensating. Like, now that I look even closer.
Yeah. That really made me laugh.
And what Betty Ebsen was a straw man, was he? Or no, he almost was a Tin Man.
He was almost a Tin Man, but he was famously Jed Clampett.
Ah, right. That's right. Man, what did he do to poor little Vicky? I wonder. She's been holding.
It's a good thing he found that oil reserve after his credit was.
So. That's how he became a hillbilly.
Like Beverly Hillbillies origins.
I also wonder if they were joking about Rent there with the depressing play that makes you feel things.
Oh, we're gonna get a Rent joke in next episode or 2 episodes from now. Yeah.
I love that Rent joke too. That's gonna be up. I watched that episode recently.
Pay the rent. And
Nichols Diner.
And I think they liked that music and the dancing so much they just put it over the credits. Like it was they just bring it back. Like, I mean, this is the type of music we don't talk enough about. Alf Clausen. He's really is so underappreciated, even in these, these later seasons. And by later, I mean 19 ago. But like if you ask him, hey, do a Shirley Temple like 30s musical kind of flourish, boom, he just has got it. Like, it sounds perfect.
Yeah, they do old-timey credits too, and then we get the Gracie Films logo get interrupted by the cat rubbing its eyes.
I thought this was just a really funny episode with great little Vicky, like cruelty. I think that's why I feel like it's only incomplete in that she doesn't die, because she's just so awful the whole episode. I guess it's nice she learns her lesson. She barely even learns her lesson. She's like, you know what? I was right. Lisa's a fake. Like, fuck you. But yeah, I think the B plot is fine too. There's some good little just like cartoony comedy, and Bart never comes back from the mall either. So
it's very light, and again, it's just a nice refreshing episode after Dark Cloud, a bunch of polarizing ones. The episode, the season ends fairly like light and breezy and enjoyable, especially the finale.
Well, it's a thing too where, like, and I'm sure you've made this observation a bunch of times, but there's the fulcrum on which Simpsons tips from quote unquote good to bad that everyone talks about is more complicated than people give it credit for. And I think that we had a long stretch of these where it's like, this is lots of funny jokes, but it doesn't really have a coherent ending, and there's not a great emotional core. And I feel like that period lasted a little bit longer than people like to think. Where it's like, this is still a funny show. Like, I like this episode a lot. Lots of really good jokes. It just doesn't have that kind of weird transcendent special touch of having a really interesting, coherent, and like perfectly fitting together plot or any kind of real heart to it.
They're very close to real heart with Lisa wanting to please her parents and all that, but then it just turns into like robot shoes that go crazy.
To pat ourselves in the back, I feel like we've done a good job of dispelling the conventional wisdom. It's like, okay, now here's where the show was bad. No, here's where the show was ruined. And this is after what many consider to be like the darkest moment of the show. And they recover so quickly. And again, on the record, the showrunner was like, yeah, killing Maude was a mistake. And he can't go back and fix that. Although Al Jean still could.
They could. I think it'd be very, like, we haven't gotten to reincarnation plots yet, but
it's true.
Powers, like, it will happen.
Although I think after seeing Maude in heaven with Edna, is that correct?
Yeah.
I don't think we can go back after actually seeing the angel. Maude.
That's a little harder than just having Marvin Monroe show up and saying, like, I was sick.
So Gary, thanks for being on the show. Please plug all of your stuff, everything on duckfeed.tv, and how our people out there can listen to your shows and support you.
Thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it. You can find me over at duckfeed.tv, where I do a host of podcasts. Primarily the flagship show is called Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast of special interest to listeners of this show. By the time this episode drops, we will be a couple months into our new show Orb, which is looking at the Venture Brothers. We're horning in on your steez of the podcast commentary show that is 4 or 5 times longer than the episode.
Nice.
I saw that as soon as you announced your podcast, they canceled the show.
we did the death then. I think that there's a good chance that the Venture Brothers will wrap up with a movie or something if they want to. Like Futurama came back or Family Guy or something.
I think so.
Imagine. But we're really excited about that, and that'll be well underway by the time this episode drops.
Awesome.
And if you want to get episodes early or get bonus content and such, you can always support us at patreon.com/duckfeedtv.
I'm a proud patron, and I love all your shows, and you make so much content. It's amazing.
Yeah, you put us to shame a little bit, even, I think, with your output.
Oh no, it's family, religion, the things you must slay to be a successful podcaster. You guys are doing great, like right now, and I'm really happy to be a patron as well.
Thank you.
You've been doing really good work.
Well, thank you so much, Gary, and we'd love to have you back.
Definitely.
Love to, anytime.
So thanks so much to Gary Butterfield for being on our show. Check out all of his stuff at duckfeed.tv. And as for us, if you want to check out more of our stuff and get all of our podcasts 1 week ahead of time and ad-free, please go to patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. Sign up there. You'll get just that, but also access to everything behind the $5 paywall. That includes over 100 bonus podcasts. That also includes all of our limited miniseries, the most recent of which that's rolling out right now is Talking Futurama Season 2, Part 2. We're doing the back half of Talking Futurama Season 2. 9 new episodes for Patreon, and of course all of the older Talking Futuramas are there as well at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. There's so much going on there behind that paywall, and you get it all immediately. Everything we've done for the past 3+ years you'll get as soon as you sign up up at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. And Henry, what is happening at the $10 level? You get all the $5 stuff, plus access to one mega-long podcast once a month that is just for patrons of that level or higher.
That's right, Bob. You're talking about the What a Cartoon Movie. On our What a Cartoon podcast, we cover a different animated series each week, but once a month, we cover an animated feature film in the same style and often for over 4 hours. And you can only hear that full podcast if you are a premium level Patreon subscriber, $10 a month at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. You'll get a back catalog that's over 2 years of exclusive podcasts, over 100 hours. Our most recent one, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. What a bunch of fun that was, the Aardman classic. The month before that, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, and a huge back catalog. Please check that out. You get that and all of the $5 stuff Bob just talked about if you're a $10 subscriber at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons.
So as for me, I've been one of your hosts, Bob Mackey. You can find me on Twitter as Bob Servo, and my other podcast is Retronauts. That's a classic gaming podcast all about old video games. You can find that wherever you find podcasts, or go to patreon.com/Retronauts to get access to 2 exclusive episodes once a month that are just for patrons. So again, that is patreon.com/Retronauts for the Retronauts podcast. Henry, how about you?
You can follow me, Henry Gilbert, on Twitter at HENEREYG. I'm sure I'm tweeting up a storm right now in December of 2020. Also, really, how are you not yet a follower on Twitter of at Talk Simpsons Pod? At Talk Simpsons Pod is the official Twitter account of this podcast and its network of shows. You can stay up to date whenever new stuff is live on the free feed or on the Patreon, or when we've got a poll going on or other news. You will stay in the loop if you follow at Talk Simpsons Pod on Twitter. That's at Talk Simpsons Pod.
Thank you so much for joining us, folks. We'll see you next time for It's a Mad, 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 Mad Marge, and we'll see you then.
Tappa, tappa, tappa.
Lisa's gone berserk. Do something, Homer, do something.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
I didn't think, I just acted.